Drive on the Atari Jaguar, being played on the PlayStation 4 disc, Atari 50, the anniversary celebration. This okay. I've played a couple of Jaguar games on this channel before, and I played about 5 or 6 before without recording commentary. Let's just say that the Jaguar has a very inauspicious debut. I'll just put it that way. It's not a for some reason, this console gets off on the wrong foot right off the bat, and every step it takes just seems to be a misstep. And this might be another one of those examples of a video game that was somewhat becoming somewhat more popular in arcades in the early 1990s, the polygonal racing game. Your virtual racers, your race driving, your hard driving, your arcade games that look like Star Fox. Probably ran a little bit better than Star Fox, but not by much. But the idea was that they were leaning heavily into the future tech that was very low which is the racing game with very low polygon counts. But the freedom of the free camera movement that really wasn't afforded to your average 2D racing game, your pole positions, your Super Mario Karts. Oh, by the way, we're going to look at a Mario Kart clone on the Jaguar a bit later. In fact, I might tease it a bit. But again, just another example of what happens when your developers just don't have the time, the resources, or arguably, just the ability, like just the help to just get these prototypes off the ground so that they become fully fleshed out video games. Most of the video games I've played in this collection, especially the Jaguar games, even some of the Lynx games I played, they feel like prototypes, unfinished games that were ultimately released in the public for 50, 60, and $70 in the 1980s and the 1990s, which is absurd to me. And remember, this game right here came out in what, the mid 1980s? I think it's gonna be like the mid 1990s? Where's the copyright date on this? Let me go to the instruction manual. Let me hide the controls here. Where's the date listed here? 1994. This game came out 2 years after Street Fighter 2. I think this game came out the same year as Star Fox on the Super NES. Which look, Star Fox was not some kind of highly polished, incredibly refined interactive experience we're talking about here. But it played like a finished game. It just played like a finished game that was chugging on fumes and charcoal. Okay, but it was a finished game. Looks like a game. Well, ignore the visuals. Remember, this is the money for nothing era of video games. This was the dire straits, money for nothing. Everyone looks like, yeah, everyone looks like, they have a polygon budget of 10 when they make these video games. Fine. This is before Mario 64, okay? Which again was a finished video game. It played, it was responsive, the camera was mostly cooperative, it was snappy, it felt like a finished video game. And there's this, which is just a driving game. It's called a semi-open world driving game. Can I mention that? It's supposed to be a semi-open world driving game, which is a game where you're given a very small area and you're supposed to basically just kind of roam around it. You're on a time limit, of course, so the game will show you how that works a bit later. I played this game for about 10 minutes before recording this video. The frame rate is higher than I expected, so it's going to be higher than something like Star Fox. But it also looks, strangely enough, less detailed than Star Fox, and the visuals are more jagged than Star Fox. So yeah, anti-aliasing, what's that? You're gonna see a bit more of that later. Select again, collect, tag, or race. We'll get to that later. We're gonna practice with the collect mode and then do the actual racing. Club Drive Worlds. Oh, there's a radio in this game. Hope there's nothing hope there's nothing gonna demonetize this video. Not that this video is ever monetized. This is not a channel that monetizes its videos. Just so you know. We can do loop de loop. Oh, we can play a Tony Hawk clone. We can drive our car around like Tony Hawk and do 360-degree spins in the air. That could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, like I said, when you see me play this game, uh, well, we can do a demolition derby with 2 players, but you can't play with an AI, of course. Again, because why would a finished game have AI characters? Then again, lots of video games didn't have like GoldenEye didn't have AI characters in the deathmatch mode. So yeah, okay, I get it. AI is hard. So yeah, Club Drive, the free roaming, semi-open world. Yeah, it's the Forza of the Atari Jaguar, I guess. I mean, Forza Horizon or was it Forza? I can't remember which Forza. I haven't played any Forza games on this shit. I haven't played Forza games, period. I just know one of them's supposed to be an open world game. Like The Crew, the Midnight Club of the Jaguar. But this is neither of those. Again, I never liked the aesthetic they had going on here too. They're trying to do like really bad CGI mixed in. Yeah, they're trying to do really bad CGI. Although some of the 2D bitmaps seem okay. Though although the game does have kind of a, yeah, it has kind of a, it looks like they took a picture and kind of, yeah, it looks like it has kind of a Mortal Kombat look here in this screen. It looks like a picture that was kind of smoothed over, but the finished product looks nothing like this. Options. Oh, but we're gonna start with the collect mode. A car one. Doesn't really matter what car we choose. Press fire for more options. This music is not very good. Again, a six. It's not. This is not a 16. This is not a 64-bit console. It was what? It was a Motorola processor. Apparently, it had the same CPU as the Genesis did, the Motorola 68,000, but it threw in a couple of 32-bit processors with it. I'll go back to the menu screen and explain the details. This was never a 64-bit console. It had two 32-bit chips. I don't even know if they were I don't know if they were CPUs or some other kind of chips. We'll worry about that later. Make the engines noisy or silent. The speed can be slow or fast. We'll increase that if we need to. Brakes, forward, reverse. Okay. In Mario Kart, when you hit the brakes and you come to a dead stop, you go in reverse. So I'm not sure why again, that's some old video games weren't that elegant when it came to their controls. So I'm not gonna knock the game for that. What do we got here? Collect power balls. We're not collecting power balls. We're collecting cushes. Just so you know. Collecting kush balls, if you remember that. So we'll get to that a bit later. So we'll do the collect to start things off, to establish the basics. Let me check on something. You can press up for a wider turn and down for a sharper turn? So you can do a power drift? What? That seems interesting. I don't remember doing that when I first started playing the game. And what does the freaking stabilize button mean? We'll see what that's about a bit later. What does stabilize mean? Uh, maybe that applies to the skate park? Yeah, it's like parking garage only. Okay. Jerome's pad. Experience what it feels like to be a toy car. Which again, you're gonna see me run around like in Micro Machines. You're gonna see me drive around a place that looks kind. Remember Toy Commander on the Sega Dreamcast? We're gonna be playing a bit like that. Yeah, that's it. That's the entire manual. So the word stabilize is used in the manual and it's never explained. See, we're collecting koosh balls. Remember those? I barely remember koosh balls. Oh, so you press down. Oh, okay, so that's how it works. Instruction manual. Not that. Controls. Okay, the way it works is on the D-pad, you press down and a direction. You press down diagonally, down to the left or down to the right for a sharp turn. So we're gonna do it that way. And we use the right when we use R2, and we use R2 to get accelerate. Okay, let's do a just a sec. I gotta feather the back up with the circle button. We're not really on a time crunch. We're just more of a time. This is more of a we're not really on a time crunch. We're just doing a sort of a time attack. Okay. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, there's something on top of the TV or behind the TV? There's a book. Okay, I'm in the wrong place. I need to go up. I need to go to this corner. Here we are. Should be a koosh ball under the bed. There it is. All right, how am I gonna do this? There's another koosh ball over there. I'm just gonna call them koosh balls. Okay, something behind the wall. Over here? Against the wall? There it is. Okay, so now I gotta back up. See, again, the frame rate seems fine. It's relatively smooth, surprisingly. Going the wrong way. Yeah, make a sharp turn here. So remember, you have to hold down and left or down and right to make the sharp turns. I'm going the wrong way. I gotta go around this. There's the koosh ball. You guys trying to do a hip hop thing? They're trying to do a hip hop soundtrack, like an early '90s hip hop soundtrack, not pop rap either. Yeah, they're doing hip hop and jazz. That's what they seem to be doing with the music here. I'll spare you the details. To crank up the music. It's a little bit funky. It's suitably funky, I suppose. It sounds like they're doing Brass Monkey from the Beastie Boys, which kind of drives me nuts, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about your early '90s jazz hip hop collaborations later. Going around. That was a hard turn. So if you know what you're doing, you can make some really sharp turns. You can do some sick donuts if you know what you're doing. Okay, a couple more. Just a second. Avoid the wall. Again, because there's no shadows in this game, all the white walls look the same. So, so it's kind of hard to distinguish. It's kind of hard to distinguish a white wall from the white background, a white foreground from the white background. It is what it is. Yeah, no shadow. I mean, look, I'm not expecting shadows in an early 1990s polygonal driving game. Although, to be fair, this came out in the mid 90s. This came out way after Dactyl Nightmare. Yeah, I mean, this is the level of polygonal detail we're dealing with here. So again, it's the frame rate's way higher than something like Star Fox, but I mean, compared to, I mean, I guess it's higher than Virtual Racing. Oh well, I guess I did all right. You tell me those guys needed 30 minutes to find all those koosh balls? That's kind of absurd. But again, imagine spending like $50 on this game, $60 on this cartridge, and then asking yourself, okay, is this really better than Stunt Race FX? Although it could be argued that it's higher frame rates higher than Stunt Race FX. So there is that. Okay. What else we got going on here? So I collected 10 Powerballs. Oh, we can change the world. Okay. Literally change the world. We'll do a race later. I just want to see what the options are. Yeehaw, we'll go to the Wild West biome. Okay, so return to the main menu. Okay, we're good. So going to the Old West, collect some Koopa Balls. Okay, where's my... I can't see my dot. Okay, I found it. Okay, here's the problem. See the bottom of the screen there? There's a flashing Koosh Ball, but I can't see my car. There's a triangle on the top left-hand corner of that map. I don't know what... Oh, it shows the direction I'm going. But I don't see my car. Okay, I barely see my car here. Yeah, it's... Okay, it's yellow on yellow. I can... Wow. The flashing icon on the map on the bottom of the screen is yellow on yellow. I can barely even see that. That is absurd. Look, I don't think I'm colorblind. I mean, I've never been able to. I've always been able to play a video game before. Like that was just bad. Okay, apparently I drove through a wall. Okay, I have to go around. Again, I can barely see my car on the map. I wonder if I change my, yeah, if I change the angle on my TV, that will make a difference. Yeah, I'm changing the angle on my TV, but it's not making a difference. It's just a bad color contrast. What are they even doing? I think I went the wrong way. Oh, there it is. I got the koosh ball. The good news is you can see the koosh balls from a distance. Wait a minute. I'm gonna just use the D-pad. That. Okay, there's the koosh ball. Do these walls just take you to the other side of the arena? I can't even tell. Okay, so I'm going right. So let's turn around here. Again, if I can't see my car on the map. So I guess I can just wander around aimlessly till I can find what I'm looking for. Maybe I'm on the wrong screen. Yeah, again, I can't see where I am on this map. This is bizarre to me. Okay, so go around, we're gonna go south. There it is. So I can't find out where I am, so it's hard for me to get my bearings. Okay, so now I know where I am. So now I'm in the top left-hand corner of the map. An ace. Well, that could be up to interpretation. How'd I do? Well, I'm beating the high score. Woo! I think we should stop playing the collectathons. Yeah, I think first of all, if you need 30 minutes to if you needed 30 minutes to beat this level, you're not going to be able to do very well in any other video game, I imagine. Let's just say that this game isn't very accessible. I think we can admit that. So we can do a race. You can only play tag with 2 players. That sucks. So that's all there is, huh? We can do 2 laps or 3. Well, let's try. Well, let's try whatever. So we'll pick San Fran. So we'll do the San Francisco Rush. That's it, kids. We finally got San Francisco Rush on the Atari Jaguar. know how I feel about this music. Okay, so the frame rate's dipping here, unfortunately. You were probably in the 20s. Yeah, so yeah, this is like, well, it's better than Star Fox, but not much. Okay, where am I going? Okay, so there's a big obstacle in the middle of the track. That's cool, I guess. Look, boy, this is a bit choppy. Just a little bit. Where am I going? Am I supposed to go up? Yeah, that way through the tunnel. Okay. Maybe I should have gotten. Maybe I should have turned. Maybe I should not have turned at any point. Look out! Don't fall in the water. Oh, sure, yeah. Don't fall in the water. There you go. I'm okay. I have no idea what's happening. I'm driving up the side of the mountain. I have no idea what's happening. Holy crap, dude! Wow. Um. Well, I guess this game was as promising as I thought it might have been. Holy crap, dude. Can I adjust the camera angle? Nope. You can't. You have to stay inside the cockpit. Okay, so it's one of those games. I mean, I could play Mario Kart. Well, why play Mario Kart when you can play this? It's the future of games, y'all. This is how Atari gets your money for nothing. Oh, Lord. I guess the pop-in isn't as bad as I was expecting. Hey, what? That. Yeah, sure. I'm on the beach now. I'm going the right way, aren't I? By the way, I was supposed to do 3 laps of this. That sounds like a bad idea. Maybe I shouldn't do 3 laps. Maybe I should just stick to one. This music is awful. What are they doing? Like, I'm assuming there's might be like real musicians, but they weren't really good at like creating video game music. Look at those Jaggies. Eh, I made it, right? I made it. Did I not make it? Maybe I didn't make it. Did I not make it? Hold on. There, I made it. Okay, what? How what? Did they forget to put a finishing line in this course? Holy crap, dude! They forget to put a finishing line in this course. Did they forget to finish the race? Pretty sure I remembered to finish the race. Holy crap. Okay, so I guess like I said, remember when I was playing before about Jaguar games being prototypes? Well, that's basically how all this just felt. This feels like a prototype to a game that was never released, and yet it got released at full price. Wow. I guess the collectathons have a higher frame rate because you don't have to stream any assets. This poor Jaguar. Race between 2 checkpoints for the selected number. So I have to go from the beginning to the end, and turn around and do it in reverse. Is that what I'm doing? Yeah, am I doing a mirror? Am I doing a mirror race? You have to go from the start to the finish, then turn around and do the finish to the start. Well, Test Drive Eva Destruction let me do that. I think it was called a whip around race or something like that, where I had to go to the finish line, then whip the car 180 degrees, and then run the course in the opposite direction. But of course, cars were coming. It was like you had to avoid head-on collision. Okay, look, Test Drive Eva Destruction was actually a good game. Like it was actually a good game, but this is trash. I'm gonna put half an hour. Play this game for half an hour, including this video and the footage I recorded without commentary. So this is like Mario Kart. It's like that Mario Kart game on the Switch where you drive around your house. Yeah, that's what this is. You're driving around your house. How many copies did that sell? Like maybe like a couple 100,000. I imagine that again. I imagine that being a very entertaining game, but I'm not trying to like drive around my apartment. I'm not trying to drive around my crib. I'm not trying to show you all my business like that. Okay, what do we where am I going? Whoop, I'm driving to the fire. It sounds like a bad idea, right? Where am I supposed to be going? Look out for the sausage dog. The polygonal sausage dog. Yeah, this is Jerome's pad. You know, there's a video on this disc where two of the engineers behind the Jaguar were saying, "Hey, we're hanging out in the Jaguar forums, and it's wild to see all of the people who love the Jaguar. We don't really understand it." Polygonal pop in, I guess. Where am I supposed to be going? Is that the finish line? I can't tell. I mean, could you at least add some kind of guides to say, like, yeah, we're gonna drive around the house. This is the path you're supposed to take. Which my commander didn't have this problem. But yeah, this is where Mario Kart AR that Switch Mario Kart game got it from. Was it AR? Mario Kart A? I don't remember what it's called. Okay, did all right. Aim for the mice. Squeak. Yeah, we made it squeak. All right. This is very disappointing. Don't know what I expect. I guess I expected like an actual race at some point. Again, this feels like a prototype that should not have been released, and yet got released as a full price game. It's a full price first party title. So we're not gonna try and race in the dude's house. Well, let's see if Velocity Park's any better. I can do the Tony Hawk thing. Yeah, we'll do the Tony Hawk thing. With the old and with the new S. Mark said, keep it clean. Do this. I'm going the wrong way. I'm going the wrong way. I'm going the wrong way. Useless. Why you so damn doofus? Pardon my language. Okay, I think I'm going the right way now. I can't tell. So you're driving around like a big Hot Wheels track. You're driving around a big Hot Wheels track. Like when the cars go up the side of the wall. I used to have one of those back in the day, actually. I don't have it anymore, but whoops. I fell off the Hot Wheels track. Wasn't there like an early 90s like weren't there like some early 90s mini go-kart? Like there were like these toy cars like Hot Wheels, but they were like three times the size. And you would put them on these little mini go-kart races. Like you would drop them into a track and they would hit the sides of the track so they could make turns. So they would have like four go-karts, four of these little mini Hot Wheels looking go-karts, and they would have their own separate lanes that were enclosed like this, and they would stick to the side, and they would take turns by sticking to the sides of the course. I don't know what you called those. Because I remember the Video Power video game show was preempted, I guess, by one of those little kart racing things. I don't know what it was called. Yeah, what were those Hot Wheels cars that had where you could like grease them with wheels? You could like grease the axles and stuff like Crisco or something. I need to look that up because I don't remember what they were called because I didn't own any, but I remember watching that TV show where these kids and their dads were like creating their own cars and then running them through these go-kart races where I think they only used gravity. They were kind of like they weren't the size of box cars, obviously, but they were like large, super large Hot Wheels. So they weren't the size of remote control cars, really. Yeah, that was like a fad for like a couple of years. It was never really huge, as I recall. Yeah, I won. Rank pizza guy. Sure. So I guess I can use the collectathon thing and try to do sick loop de loops and 720s, fakey ollie grinds in a car. Wow, what a crappy game. You need two players to play tag, I guess. Oh well. Collect. Let's try collect 5 Powerballs instead of 10. That's like a good idea. We're playing Velocity Park. I guess this song is okay. So that one song that was playing in San Francisco was just god awful. I don't know what they were trying to do. I guess I could do some loop de loops. It just seems bad to try and do them from inside a cockpit. Do I get like points for like doing nose plants? Turn it up. Bring the noise. No, wait, I have to do the Superman song. Just a second. I think we're good. Like I'm supposed to be going over here. It's not a very big course, so the frame rate's surprisingly high. So that counts for something, I suppose. Wow, what a bad video game. Again, it was a prototype that was made by like I guess this is the indie dream, right? American Kusuge. You get a couple of engineers together, you kind of know how to program for the Atari Jaguar, so you get your boys together because they were almost always boys at that point, and you make a 3D video game. And it doesn't have obviously you don't have the budget or the staff of like a Mario Kart, but you're gonna make a video game anyway. You get that DIY spirit that everyone keeps talking about from the indie scene. It's possible for a first party game to not be a AAA game, just for the record, and this is proof positive of that. Not all first party games are not all first party games are AAA, let's just put it that way. It's like sometimes you get an urban champion on the NES. Sometimes you get a Super Scope 6 on the Super NES. And sometimes you get this. An E-SWAT. You get an E-SWAT on the Sega Genesis. Yeah, it's my best Powerball time. I only had 5 balls though, so I only had 5 balls though. 5 koosh balls in a minute and 2 minutes. Amazing. How much more of this do you think I should play, really? I mean, should I try to explore every permutation of the collectathon? Because I know I don't want to do any more races. They're doing the collectathon with 5 koosh balls in San Francisco. Says get that koosh. Yeah, this song. Again, another prototype that never should have been released, including this music. Like, are they trying to do like horns? I don't know what I don't know what music they're trying to perform. And secondly, again, the radar barely shows my car because it's yellow on beige. I can barely even see that. And it's probably below me. Yeah, the koosh ball's below me, I bet. Gosh darn it. Or in a parking garage, okay. That's actually not terrible. Out the way! So before I end the video, I'll tease the Mario Kart clone they made, and you're gonna understand how dire the Jaguar situation was. And this, you know what? God bless Digital Eclipse for like releasing this collection of emulated Jaguar games, so I can finally play for the first time Jaguar games without soiling myself by going on the gray market or the pirate booty den, so I can like download some crappy Jaguar games. And so imagine me playing this on my laptop and saying, "Yeah, it probably plays better on original hardware." Imagine me being that guy. Yeah, this runs like crap on an emulator. We better get it. We better break out the original hardware. Like, no. I play a lot of games on original hardware on this channel. Like, I have a Genesis, I have a Super Nintendo, but I there's a 0% chance I would ever get a Jaguar based on what I played here. I'm gonna be playing that Humans game. What is it called? Evolution Dino Dudes, which was the Jaguar version of Humans, which came out on a bunch of consoles. I want to say it came out on the Super NES, the Game Boy, the Genesis, and a couple of other games. Look, I just missed my. I was 1 second off. Asphalt Turtle. I mean, that was not great, but then again, neither is this game. Or the radar it's used to help me find all this crap. I mean, you can see the koosh balls from some distance away, but if it's on a different level than the one you're on, I mean, eh. Again, this is the console that was I mean, okay, it was the successor to a bunch of consoles no one owned. But this console came out after the Super NES, after the Sega Genesis. No one owned a TurboGrafx-16, so we're going to ignore that conversation. No one in America owned it anyway. But it's like, here is a console. This is a first party release on a console that was ostensibly more expensive. Yeah, it's a historical art. Yeah, that's putting it charitably. It's an historical artifact, like bell bottom jeans. It's a historical artifact. And God bless Atari, but so much of their aesthetic is based on so many of their design principles are based on video games don't need all these presentational things that the 1980s brought us. Like, this is a game that has the production values of a mid 1980s NES game at best. Like, the music sucks. Like, I mean, most of the time it sucks. The controls are janky AF. I mean, like, again, this is the Jaguar here. So, I mean, this is a console that should have had more power than the Super NES and the Genesis did. Yet we get pinball games that are just choppy. They're just choppy and ugly. We get racing games that are choppy and ugly. In fact, let me show you the racing game. I'm gonna tease it a bit. We'll do a separate video on the racing game later. We'll do a video on the racing game later because it's a disaster. It's Mario Kart but completely unrefined. Again, it's a prototype for a game that ultimately could have become a Mario Kart clone, and it's just terrible. Atari cards, here we go. Again, imagine what you could do with the power of the Atari Jaguar. You could make a game that looks better than Mario Kart because really have more powerful hardware. You don't need special chips. You can just kind of run this game on a more imagine Mario Kart ran at 60 frames a second. But imagine if the game just had more, visual audio visual pizzazz. Oh, so you see the speed, acceleration, and steer categories. That's the princess. And Pulpito. Yeah, this guy's Mario. Okay, so he's Mario. The manual is not very helpful, but we'll get to that later. Regius Philbin. We'll get to that later. So again, we'll just kind of set the table here. See? Mario Kart. And so when we finally get around to making a video with this game, we'll see how it performs. But I played this game for about 10 minutes a while ago, and it's manageable. Like like again, it's a prototype. It's almost there. It looks more complete than most Jaguar games, but the more you play it, the more you realize there's just not much here. And we'll get around to why when we finish making a video for this game. But yeah, I'm disappointed. And this is probably as good as the Jaguar was gonna get, for honest. So we'll do a video of Atari carts later, but this is basically what we had to deal with. This is the Jaguar experience, basically. A bunch of prototypes in a $300 console, whatever it was called. Yeah, at this point, it had been reduced to 150 because by this point, the PlayStation 1 came out, as did the Sega Saturn. And again, there's a virtual fighter clone on this console that's god awful. Now it runs better than Rise of the Robots did on the Super NES, but I mean, what does that even mean? We'll play some more. We'll play some Jaguar games a bit. We'll play some Lynx games a bit later, but they aren't looking very promising either. The launch price was $250, so it cost $100 more than the Super Nintendo did on launch. Actually, I think the Super Nintendo cost about $200 on launch. So again, it wasn't a 64-bit console; it was a 32-bit console with two 32-bit chips. But do the games we have played do not feel like significant improvements over the Super Nintendo and the Genesis games. In fact, they look like uglier versions of Genesis and Super Nintendo games we might be familiar with. Like, what did this console really have going for it other than the specs? Because they clearly went throwing a bunch of, art. Let me put it this way: they weren't investing in an art budget. Okay, they hired a bunch of software engineers. And they didn't really hire anyone who was really good at like drawing things that looked pretty in video games, I suppose. Not a lot of digital artists. Not a lot like I can't draw. Obviously, I have programming experience. I do software engineering in the past, but you don't want to hire me to develop a fighting game in terms of like drawing characters and doing all that stuff. It was named, yeah, two 32-bit processors. Yeah, I guess they were Motorola processors. Yeah, it's a dual core. No, Tom and Jerry. Okay, so you have Tom, which I guess is, yeah, it's a Motorola chip. Yeah, it's a Motorola CPU, and you have a Motorola DSP, which I guess is digital. Is that technically a GPU? Because the Super NES games had DSP chips inside of them. Yeah, they had Motorola chips. I'll get more detail about that later. The one thing I want to say, this disc doesn't really go into detail on the specs, really. And again, this marketing BS about it being a 64-bit console because it has two 32-bit chips in it. That kind of nonsense. Like, don't do that. Like for instance, there are like for instance, I have a laptop. I have a regular desktop, 64-bit operating system. It's got a Intel chip inside, and I can also purchase a GPU. You can buy video cards that are 128 bits, but they only have like what 1 gigabyte of video RAM in them. So yeah, you run a 128-bit, you know, video card through a 64-bit operating system with ostensibly a 64-bit CPU. What are we even doing here? Like, come on. It's marketing crap. Like MIPS. Yeah, the Xbox Series X has a lot of MIPS. It's not about MIPS. It's about what you do with the freaking MIPS. Again, a computer, a personal computer with fewer MIPS than a Series X could get you higher frame rates and higher resolutions if the game is developed, if the game is optimized so that it runs better on certain hardware. With good programming, It's not about the myths, obviously, because there are NES games that run better than this crap does on the Jaguar. It's not about the freaking myths. It's about what you do with them. And unfortunately, the Jaguar apparently sucks. So we'll play a couple more Jaguar games a bit later. We'll eventually get around to Cybermorph. But no, there is not a lot here. And in fact, there's a video we're not going to show you here. There's a video where they explain why the console was kind of doomed. But yeah, we'll play more Jaguar games later. But this console is not particularly thrilling so far. It's my first experience with the Jaguar, but it's just really no. I recorded this with are these my Philips headphones? Using my Philips earbuds plugged into my MPOW USB A audio capture device. Video footage was captured with my here we go. My inland video capture device, USB 3.0. It's got a pass through, so I was able to play on my TV while I was recording the footage into my dual core Windows 11 laptop with the Windows 11 camera application.